Top of the morning to you. Hope you're having a wonderful day. This is Joseph Mikael Page from the Hemet beat. That's the voice you're listening to. Getting things in order. Things are constantly changing. And one of those things is the air conditioner needs to change from going on in the background when I'm doing my thing. Jeez. Alright, for some reason I'm still having to turn up my mic, but that's fine. Got the mic up, good. We got some volume there. And let's see, let's change out the input here. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting it together. Getting it together, brother. Okay, headphones stop. Boom. Alright, we got it switched up there. Now let's go ahead and now there's something serious we're going to be talking about. This is Suicide Awareness Month. Today is Incarceration Friday. We're waiting on Antone Page to call in, but while we wait on him, why don't we go ahead and pull up some Juicy Baby for you, just as we get prepared to do the show today. I'll do a lot about Antone Page because without Antone Page, there is no Incarceration Friday. It was birthed out of my relationship with my younger brother, who is serving a 103-year sentence currently. And it does hurt me very badly in my heart. The more I think about it, enjoy this.
I called your little stupid phone, but you was unavailable. I wrote this little stupid song so you would know we slimy, bro. Baby, you my baby, I'm always gonna love you so. Baby, you my baby, I will never ever let you go. Girl, you know you stupid, that means you are incredible. Girl, you so dumb, that means you stupid beautiful. Got your hair done, you looking bad, girl, you terrible. Girl, you so juicy, you my little juicy baby. You can call her Majesty, pretty eyes and pretty teeth, 23s on top of feet. Yeah, you know she made you meet. Don't care about what you about, but think you hate this cause you can't compete. Baby dressed in purple, but you busted in that dusty peak. Ugly from your head to feet, your man thinks she a masterpiece. Calling her a dime piece and she don't even want your cheek. Looking for the cutest thing to G up your little Wikipedia. It's gon' say a laser is cause that's just what a laser be. Get up out my face, she say, hey, I'm on D&D. You can keep on falling, but boy, she ain't Alicia Keys. Get up what she wants today. She get it like on delay. She just bought some brand new J's. About to go get kicked with J's. I called your little stupid phone, but you was unavailable. I wrote this little stupid song so you would know we slimy, bro. Baby, you my baby, I'm always gonna love you so. Baby, you my baby, I will never ever let you go. Girl, you know you stupid, that means you are incredible. Girl, you so dumb, that means you stupid beautiful. Got your hair done, you looking bad, girl, you terrible. Girl, you so juicy, you my little juicy babe. See my little Bonita babe, I'll call her my Mia more. I'm gonna make you hate her more, I'm gonna let her buy the store. Put her up in lavender, she my little stupid babe. I'm gonna make you mad at her, she my go-go dummy babe. Baby, you my baby, I'm always gonna love you so. Baby, you my baby, I will never let you go.
Okay, so check it out. Now, if you do see that picture right there, that image in the background that's wiggling and moving, now that is the first avatar we created for my younger brother. Here's an image of him and his daughter, Alasia. Big shouts out to my niece, Alasia Page. We're definitely going to have to share this on over. But I do want you to notice a couple things. So just look at that avatar one more time for me.
Baby, you my baby, I'm always gonna love you so. Baby, you my baby, I will never let you go. Call your little stupid phone, but you was unavailable. I wrote this little stupid song to let you know.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it, just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. Describe what you want, and watch it take shape.
Base AI, huh?
You can plan, customize, and expand in any direction. From tools built for one to platforms ready for many. From passion projects.
Wow, you know me. I love some AI. You're talking my language there, buddy. So, hi, I'm Joseph Mikael Page. I'm going to check out this Bring Your Ideas to Life. Start now. Let's click it anyway. Let's just go ahead and get it up there because I'm definitely interested in seeing how I can use it to further what I do. All right, now let's go over here to Antone's Instagram. Also, I think we've created him his Bible, so we'll pull that up. It'll probably show us some advertisements, but that's okay. Verse of the day. Starting off with the verse of the day. There they go. There goes the advertisements. Verse of the day, Matthew 28:18 through 20, King James Version. Let's pull that up so you can see that. Let's bring me down in size. It's nice being a little large at times. I enjoy that. Here we go. We're going to bring this down just a tad bit here. There we go. Shrinky, shrinky. Now let's move it over smooth. There we go. Cool. Verse of the day says, and Jesus came and spake. He spake. That means talking. Unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Lo, I am with you always, even until the end of the world. Wow. That doesn't tell me that I need to go to seminary. It doesn't tell me I need to wait until a man lays his hands on me and says, you are now permitted to preach the gospel. What it tells me is that Jesus spake. He spoke to us. He's talking to us. How many know the people that were standing there that heard this message are probably long gone, dead and in a graveyard somewhere, waiting to rise again because of their faith in Jesus. And some people didn't even believe. From what I understand, a multitude of people walked away after Jesus gave this command and went back to their lives. They didn't even go out to evangelize. But Jesus said, all power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. That tells me all power belongs to the Lord. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. So all you have to do is tell people what Jesus has told us to do. You get those words directly from the Bible and you just tell the next person and the next person. It's not really that hard. And lo, I am with you always, even until the end of the world. Amen. So that means Jesus is with me even right now. It's okay. That's all I'm hearing. I'm hearing it's okay. Nothing to worry about. The Lord is with you. Go forth. Preach the gospel. If you do that, you'll be okay. So without further ado, here's a little more music for you. This track right here is Where I Come From. Joseph Mikael Page, Where I Come From the AD album. Enjoy that.
Right here. This is a serious song right here. This is one of my good friends I got in the booth with me here. Her name is Dee Dee. She helped me pay for that old bass song that y'all love so much.
Thank you for showing your support on that.
She needs to see some income, so make sure you buy this. Hey, we got Shaquille sitting out there in the studio. Young Samaj, we miss you.
Love you, Daddy.
Yeah.
can see the background pretty that well. Let me get out of your way there. Okay. If you want to contact the Hemet Beat, you have any information for us that you'd like us to share, then please send it our way. We want to support you, the community worldwide. Actually, we started at Hemet. It reached out to San Jacinto, Temecula, Menifee, all of these different areas that we service. But you know what? We're servicing the world. If you're from Nigeria, if you're from Afghanistan, if you are from Argentina, it does not matter where you hail from. The Hemet Beat is here for you, and we will figure out a way to get your message across to the masses. All right, and we are having a wonderful morning here as we celebrate the Lord, and we do what we do to give Him glory. All right, I'm over here doing my thing as I share just a little here, share just a little there. So blessed am I. All right, let's see here. Pulling up, of course, weather in Hemet, waiting on Antone Page to reach out. I'm sure he'll be calling any moment. He usually calls at 8:41 on the dot. So if you're waiting to hear the voice of the man, he's coming. Now, if you want to reach out to us, our phone number here is 951. Up there he is, right on time.
Call from Antony Leakeith Page. To accept, press 1.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from an inmate at the Tecumseh State Correctional Institution.
To accept this call, press 5. To refuse this call, hang up. Your current balance is $52.04. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording.
Thank you for using GTL.
Hello, Hemet Beat.
Good morning.
Incarcerated Friday. Good morning.
Incarceration Friday. Okay, the first thing I want to tell you is I love you.
I love you too. Oh.
Do you believe that I love you?
Do you believe in magic? Well, I hope you do. Yeah.
Finish it. Finish it. Don't stop there. We're all listening.
I don't know.
I don't know the rest of the words. Neither do I. That's where I stop always too. That's how you know we're brothers. Remember when we used to watch the weigh-ins and then we would be walking around and we would go like to school or something and we would just start, we're brothers, we're happy and we're singing and we're colored.
We're colored.
Give me a high five. We thought it was hug, but I finally learned the lyrics are give me a high five.
Oh, okay.
That's so funny to me, man. So funny. All right. So I'm working on a whole lot of new stuff. All right. God has been talking to me, and I went to a meeting that really changed my perspective. I met a woman named Diana Gutierrez from Riverside County, and she began to speak and showed a video on suicide awareness. Did you know that September is Suicide Awareness Month?
No, I didn't know that.
Well, that is the truth. It is Suicide Awareness Month, and I think that your story, and it's also Substance Abuse Awareness Month as well. Drug addiction, alcohol addiction, whatever substance a person may use, this is the awareness month. So suicide, substance abuse basically go hand in hand. And then we have another very sad, fatal situation that happened during this time, which was 9/11. And we lost so many people inside of the towers. Very sad situation. So I wanted to bring all those things to your attention, as I know you are a great improv person. And something special about Antone Page, I just want to tell our audience, is that this young man has not taken improv classes. Am I wrong?
No, I haven't. I don't know what that improv class is.
Okay, so an improv class teaches you basically how to come off the top of the head. It shows you how to do what we do when we freestyle, rap, and battle and all of that stuff. They teach people how to do that, and they crispen it. And I wanted to also shout you out for the fact that you know how to improv off the top of the head, and you never had to take a class. And you're so good at the gift God gave you that you teach other people how to do it. It's amazing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's good. Okay, so what were you improving about today?
We are improving about suicide awareness. We are talking about substance abuse. I've got a couple videos from a few different people that are going to help us out with today's show. And I would like to really dig deeper into understanding your pain, if you want to talk about that, but it's totally up to you as it pertains to suicide. But before we get into that, I'm going to play the video that I was sent from the lady. Let me see, do I have it even pulled up still? Here she goes. Okay, and you just go ahead and sit back. You won't be able to hear it, but I'll give you the gist of it. I'm going to play it now.
Hello, my name is Jana Scherz-Butowski, and I'm here today on behalf of the California Department of Public Health Never a Bother Youth Suicide Prevention Campaign. When it comes to suicide prevention, the messages we use can have a significant impact on the way messages are received. They can encourage someone to seek help, to reach out, but they can also push people further away from the help and support they need. There are guidelines that exist to guide us in creating safe and effective messaging for suicide prevention. And in this video, we're going to review some of these. So whether you're creating a video or a pamphlet, or maybe you are writing a speech or an article about suicide prevention, it's really important to put yourselves in the shoes of the individual who's going to be reading your content or listening to your content. So think about for a moment if there's a vulnerable individual who's in a lot of emotional pain, who might be thinking about suicide. How is your article, how is your video going to make them feel? Is it going to encourage them to have hope, to reach out for help? Is it going to make them feel less alone? Or is it going to increase their pain? One critical element of suicide prevention is educating the public about suicide prevention crisis resources that are available. So when you're creating a video or a pamphlet or really any communication material, this is probably the most important piece to include. What are the crisis lines and what are the resources out there that can support an individual in crisis who's thinking about suicide, or someone who's concerned about someone else, maybe a friend or a loved one? There are a number of different resources to include. Many are available 24/7, and many offer options to call, to text, or to chat. So again, when you're creating your brochure or your video or your talking points about suicide prevention, think about how do you want someone to feel? What do you want them to know? What do you want them to do as a result of your materials? Whenever possible, we want to include education, such as the warning signs for suicide, or we want to include what they can do, such as calling a resource or checking in on someone that they're concerned about. The more education, resources, and tangible tips for action you include, the greater the role can be that all of us play in suicide prevention. So when we hear the term suicide, it's naturally to think about sadness, to think about pain, and to possibly associate dark colors, somber music. When we see a lot of suicide prevention materials, a lot of times they show a sad individual suffering in silence. And of course, it's important that we validate an individual's feelings, the pain that they might be going through. But that can't be all. We have to do more with our messaging. A colleague of mine, Stan Collins, often talks about this concept of hope and pain. And he says when we think about suicide prevention, it really, at its core, comes down to encouraging individuals to find hope, to find more hope than their pain, and to help individuals find their reasons for living. In general, it's best to avoid a lot of details or depictions of how a person might attempt or die by suicide. We don't want to show weapons at all, ever. We also want to avoid a person standing on a bridge or jumping off a bridge. We want to avoid someone holding a noose or holding a bottle of pills. Think about the impact you want your message to have. Are the details necessary? How are they going to make someone feel? Are they going to encourage them to reach out for help? Are they going to make someone feel more hopeful, more supported? Or is it going to increase their pain? Think about how those details, showing items or ways that someone could die by suicide, will make someone feel who has lost a loved one to suicide. So we already talked a lot about the kind of impact the words or phrases we use can have on how our messages are received. So I want to spend just a little bit of time on the specific words we use to describe suicide. One of the most common terms used right now is that someone committed suicide. So I just want you to pause for a second and think about, what do you associate with the term commit? We think about sin, committed a sin. We think about someone committed a crime, for example. Those are the most common associations. Of course, there's positive associations as well. Someone is committed to a friendship, committed to their marriage, committed to a project. But most commonly, the first thing that comes to mind is negative. And just by using the term committed suicide, it carries a tremendous amount of shame and guilt and stigma. So when we hear this term, again, think about, how does this make you feel? How does this make a vulnerable individual feel? How does this make someone feel who's lost a loved one to suicide? Another term that we want to stay away from is this idea of a successful or unsuccessful suicide attempt. There's simply no success or failure when we start to think about suicide prevention in individuals in this tremendous amount of pain. So we want to be, again, just mindful. Our words have power. They can lift someone up. They can also pull someone down. And it's critical, especially when we talk about suicide prevention, to be careful about the ones we choose. It's naturally to want to answer the question, why? Why did somebody feel such tremendous pain that they died by suicide? So let me delve a little bit deeper, because this is actually a really important part of our suicide prevention guidelines that exist. So it's okay to talk about life problems that might increase risk for why a person is thinking about suicide. So life problems such as maybe the parents are getting a divorce, or there's bullying, there's a breakup, maybe there's abuse. All of those are contributing factors to why a young person, or really any person, might be feeling in pain and considering suicide. And it's also okay to talk about how these factors can contribute to behaviors such as isolating themselves, potentially drinking more alcohol or using drugs, other things that are considered warning signs of suicide. So just for a moment, think about how we talk about this. It's not that we're saying the parents' divorce or the bullying causes suicide. It's that these are stressors in our life that put us at increased risk. And when we don't have the buffers or the protective factors to balance those out, that's what puts someone at greater risk for suicide. So it's not this single event, but it's this complexity of factors that all contribute. And that's what we need to communicate with our messages. For most public health problems, using statistics can help raise awareness about a problem, get people's attention, help you advocate for funding or potentially for policy change. However, when we're talking about suicide prevention, it's completely different. Using data or statistics that elevate the problem and that make suicide seem common can actually have an adverse and unintended consequence. So I want you to really think about and be careful about how you're using statistics. Who's your audience? What is the purpose for using them? And again, think about, it might seem natural or interesting or compelling to use statistics such as a person dies from suicide every so many minutes or even seconds. But again, how does that make someone feel who's watching your video, who's reading your data briefing? Does it increase their sense of hope, their sense of wanting to find their reasons for living, or does it increase their pain? So let's be very careful. And again, I'm just going to say it one more time, avoid statistics that make suicide seem common or as something that happens all the time as a reaction to what are fairly common life circumstances. The simple truth is just by being part of a specific cultural group, by being a certain demographic, by having a certain sexual orientation or gender, does not make anyone more likely to die by suicide. More importantly, it's the presence of risk factors, and this could be racism, it could be poverty, it could be the absence of family support or feelings of connectedness that put us at increased risk. And this is especially true when there's an absence of protective factors. So when you share this data, again, think about how does this make someone feel when they hear they're more likely to die by suicide. It's not only inaccurate, it's also not, going back to our original messaging principle, increasing their feeling of hope, not increasing them and helping them find their reasons for living. So let's avoid that kind of data and instead focus on protective factors. Focus on messages that encourage us as a community to be accepting of LGBTQ youth. So a protective factor, for example, at the individual level is knowing about healthy coping skills. How can we get through a tough time with skills that are going to help us troubleshoot the emotions that we're feeling. So feeling connected at school, feeling connected in the community, feeling connected to something is a big protective factor for suicide prevention. So why does this matter when it comes to messaging? A lot of times we have this natural inclination to point to the negative, to point to the statistics of who's dying by suicide or who's attempted suicide, to all the things that are wrong with society that put us at increased risk. And this is really important to help us in our understanding of suicide. But when it comes to messaging, we want to focus on what can we do? What can we do as individuals to play a role in suicide prevention? And we can't always play a role in removing risk factors, but all of us can play a role in increasing protective factors. So in summary, before you start your suicide prevention communication project, ask yourself these questions. Why are you creating this communication piece? Who is your audience? What do you want your audience to know or do differently by reading your piece, listening to your piece, or hearing your piece? Now that I've provided you with all this information, I hope you will take some of these principles to heart, apply them to your communication piece, and really take this first step to play your role in suicide prevention.
Yeah, personally, I think that was great information myself, but I do want to give time for you to go ahead and speak on, because I've already spoken a lot up until now. If you want to give your feedback on what you just heard or your personal testimony of the things that you've overcome.
I didn't hear nothing.
Oh, you didn't hear anything?
No, it started playing at first and then it went to blank, so I figured I'd just wait till you got back on the phone.
Oh, wow. I don't know how it went blank. I was pumping it. Maybe the speaker, that's crazy. You should have heard that. I put the whole headphones to the speaker so you could hear the whole segment. It was showing that it was reading into the mic.
Noise cancellation, probably.
Maybe it was noise cancellation.
Yeah.
Okay, so what she was telling us basically is how you speak to somebody when they are in that frame of mind. Says include a suicide prevention resource. So we need suicide prevention resources. And what I'm thinking is that you are a suicide prevention resource right there where you are. The ministry that God is using you to be a blessing to the individuals within inside of the prison system in Tecumseh, Nebraska, I see a dire need for the service that you provide. Would you agree with that?
Well, I'm a part of a program called Intentional Peer Support, and it's through the Mental Health Association of Nebraska. So, yeah, I do talk to individuals who are sometimes suffering from suicidal thoughts or suffering from, suicidal tendencies and things of that sort. So, yeah, I have been utilized by God and by the institution to help people get through their suicide attempts and suicide thoughts. Yeah.
Okay, so what is your main the main words? How do you speak to these individuals? And I guess I should ask, have you been trained to speak to those that are contemplating suicide?
So, yeah, we got training that we do. It's not just specifically for suicide, but it's for people with mental illnesses and suicide and all different type of things. And our main thing is just to build a relationship with the individual so that they know that they have someone to turn to when they are feeling, sad or depressed or outcast or whatever feelings that come along with the territory of suicide. So I take a training every 2 years to recertificate my certifications.
Okay, so now when it comes down to the method that you're creating, that God is using you to establish, let me ask you this. Can I ask you a personal question on this show?
Go ahead, what's your question?
Okay, my question is this. When you found yourself at that moment of giving up your life, what was missing?
I think what was missing was my children. That was what caused it in the first place. But then there was a lack of empathy from people who surrounded me, who I thought that I could call on. So a lack of that prevention tool. I didn't know who to turn to, where to turn to. I didn't know where to go to get help. I didn't know who to call. I had no information about what to do if I ever found myself suicidal. So it was really lacking a lot of resource.
Okay, and did drugs and alcohol play a part in the situation? And I'm trying to use these words.
Not in the...
Now, I'm trying to really honestly be empathetic at this moment, because I apologize to you
so much
that I haven't been empathetic to your situation. And it's similar to our older brother, okay? I think about how he is towards me. I also think about our dad. I think about how hard we grew up. We barely ever went to the hospital with dad, especially. You know what I'm saying? If something is wrong, we don't, we don't turn to the psychiatrist. We're gonna get over it. I've heard get over it multiple times. Mom, she took us to some hospitals. She took us to some therapists and stuff when we were really young. I can remember going to the therapist, playing with blocks. I can also remember the day that I told her that I see shadow people and I see these visions, and didn't comprehend what was going on. And though they were in the Bible the way they were, they didn't really have an explanation or something that could help me through what now I understand as psychosis. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which left me ill-equipped to deal with your situation. As your older brother, I had no clue, literally. I had no idea of how to speak to you. And I've only learned this morning because I met Miss Gutierrez at the commissioners meeting, and she sent me over that suicide prevention information.
Yeah. So to answer your question, initially, drugs and alcohol did not play a part in the suicide. Once the children had been taken, it was a lot of reasons that were falsified. A lot of things, and I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I, first of all, want to be completely accountable for my suicide attempt. Me attempting to take my own life was my choice and my actions to do that. The things leading up, there was a lot of contributing factors, contributing people, but at the end of the night, the full accountability for my actions are on me, and I can't blame anybody else for anything that they chose to do with respect to the attempt on my life. So saying that, there was a lot of falsified information. There was another party involved that wanted a new life and needed my children in order to start that new life. So they plotted a plan to abduct the children, take the children away from me and from the home that they were living in. They falsified information to do that. Then they falsified information that they lived in my home and when they got a restraining order against me from my own home. So I was left without my children. I was left without my home. I was left without anything all within 1 week. So drugs and alcohol wasn't a portion, but as the depression settled in from the loss of the children and me not having my kids, because for me, every single day of my life was wrapped around my children. I was the one that fixed them breakfast. I was the one that took them to school. I was the one that picked them up from school. My children, my whole life was centered around my children. So when they had took my children, that was my source of life. That was my reason for waking up in the morning. There was no other reason for me to wake up in this life without my children. So when my children were gone, I kept going into depression. I kept asking myself, what's the reason to keep living? Why should I keep living without my family? Why should I keep living without my kids? Why am I waking up every day? What else is there for me to do in this life other than be what I had been, which was a father? So when your source of life is taken away from you, it's not about, like I say, drugs and alcohol wasn't a contributing factor to the suicide. So for almost 30 days, or a little bit less than 30 days, I contemplated how I would kill myself, and I contemplated suicide and replayed it over and over and over again in my mind. And that was the contributing factors to the actual attempt of suicide. During those 30 days, I consumed alcohol, I consumed drugs. I tried to find anything that could help me balance back out my life, or at least take me away from the situation or from the thoughts of suicide. And I didn't. None of that worked. None of that worked. It was probably even worse for me for indulging in substances. I indulged in substances I had never indulged in before because I had a lack of care for my life. So if it makes sense to you, it wasn't drugs that contributed to the suicide. It was the suicide that contributed to the drug use, if that makes sense.
Not to me. I'm still understanding this stuff.
Okay, so let me try to explain it to you. So if you're not using drugs and you're not using alcohol and you're suicidal, because of the loss or whatever it is that you're facing or going through, you say, well, I'm going to use some drugs because of that. You're not drinking and drugging and getting high before and then say, oh, well, because I'm high, I'm going to commit suicide. It doesn't work that way. So with suicide and what was going on with a sober individual is now looking to self-medicate himself through street drugs or whatever else could you can get your hands on to possibly take you out of the suicidal thoughts.
Okay, now what about what led up to the situation inside of the apartment that was burned down and all that? What happened? What led to that final breaking point that you were done with life and you were in the process someone else ended up hurt? A life was still taken, though yours was spared.
When I was so the night that I had decided that I was going to commit the suicide, that this is after this is within that 30 days that I was telling you about. So it was already the breaking point. The only thing that was keeping me back from actually committing the suicide was the fact that I had a child that was on the way. And I was using that as my crutch to say, as long as I can keep this child safe, as long as I can, maintain this relationship with this woman, this will be, my reason to survive, my reason to live. Because I was looking for any reason to survive. So as the situation became rougher and rougher, the last breaking point, the day or night before I committed suicide or day before I committed the suicide, I had called all of my family. I had called my mom. I called my brothers. The only person I didn't call was my dad. I had told my cousin, I'm like, look, it's to that point where I'm going to hurt myself or somebody else. I don't know what to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And I was explaining to him I was suicidal. The response, and I don't, again, I'm taking full accountability for the decision on my life and for the, mental state. But I didn't get the responses that I needed I'm not going to say what my family members said. I'm not going to say what Pacific people said, but there was not appropriate responses for somebody who was really about to make an attempt on their life. And so after getting those responses, I felt as if nobody cared about me. I felt as if I had no love. I had nobody. I had nothing. I had lost my family, and the family that I did depend on to help me through a tough time wasn't there for me at this time. I had a lot of feelings, and leading up to that circumstance, there was altercations. The girl that I was dealing with was prostituting herself, and while she had the baby in her stomach, so that was throwing me, out of whack as well. I'm like, this is crazy, and I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of this life anymore. I don't want to live if I can't have my children. I don't want to live.
Okay. So
and that same thought is what drove. That same thought is what drove me that entire time to the breaking of the camel's back.
Okay.
It wasn't anything else that happened.
Can I ask this, and you are free to say you don't want to speak on it? What was the altercation with the gentleman that's mentioned inside of the news stories? What happened?
Okay, so there was a gentleman. I had left out the house, and while I was having the conversation with my cousin about, wanting to commit, telling him that, I was to the point of that breaking point. This was about like maybe 12 a.m. in the morning, and I had briefly left out of the house to go get some work boots, and the man had got up, a visitor to the apartments or whatever, he had got up. He had previously had some type of relations or some type of connection with the child, child's who was the mother who was pregnant at this time.
Okay,
and,
take your time. Take your time. Take a deep breath. I want you to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
Yeah.
And articulate yourself so people will understand what happened to you instead of what they're reading whenever they look your name up.
So yeah, so there was some previous. There was a guy who was around the pregnant mother of my child. We'll just say her name was Stephanie, and he had been trying to seduce her with drugs, like pulling out cocaine packages, and she would stand up. He would make noises like and all kind of derogatory stuff. We explained to him, she's pregnant, she got this child on the way, and I was explaining to him that, that was inappropriate. He would come knock on the door at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, jiggle his keys to try to get her to, come out to his truck. And I don't know, what previous relations they may have had or may not have had, but it was obviously something going on where he felt comfortable to do these things. So when I had got up to go downstairs to get my boots out of the car and talk to my cousin, he got up and locked the door and then laid down in the bed next to her, and I could see through the window that he had laid down next to her on the bed. And next to the bed, but next to her, she's on the bed. It was like on the floor or whatever, and I had seen that. And so I knocked on the door. She finally got up and answered it. I came in. We waited through the night, and there was a fight with me and him the next morning. When I confronted him about the situation, he said, he does whatever he wants to do. He's a gangster, all of this, that, and the other, and blah, blah, blah. And me and him had a little fight or whatever. And that was the altercation that happened with him.
Okay, so what about the other individual?
The other individuals who were in the house, there was nothing.
No,
nothing.
The situation leading up to the person that lost their life, which everybody reads about, the fist fight that you had with the girl's other lover is never even mentioned. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
Nobody knows about that story. Who is that individual? Okay, so you've explained to us there was another person that is having sex with your now pregnant side piece, I'll call her, if that's appropriate for you, because I don't want to call her anything more significant than that.
Me and my children's mother had been broken up already, so this was the now kind of like baby mama or girlfriend or whatever you want to call it.
But she's willing to have sex with this gangster that's got cocaine dangling in front of her while she's pregnant inside of the same house. And I know your temper, so I can imagine you held your temper as long as you could until that next morning, and it blew up and erupted inside of this house. Now, whose house was it that you were in?
Okay, so we weren't in the house. We were out on the porch when the altercation happened, but this was her uncle's house. So once I told her, I was like, you know what, let's go, let's get out of here, let's leave. And she kind of was reluctant. She didn't want to go. She was like, but I had a conversation with her that I had told her previous. I was like, if I'm asked to leave and you're not coming with me, I'm going to kill myself. So there was kind of this agreement that she knew and I knew that, hey, I'm going to kill myself. I had some pills she knew I had been walking around with, and my plan was to take the pills. That's what I had planned to do in order to kill myself. So when she basically was like, she basically gave me like a nod, like oh, well, go kill yourself, kind of idea, because I'm like, come on, let's go. And she kind of like, go, basically underlined the understanding between me and her. She was kind of like, oh, well, go kill yourself.
Okay, so
I was
basically, the man is a dividing line. Her uncle became a dividing line between you and her. And he's basically like, you got to go. I'm not, and she can stay, but you got to go. And you said, if you're not coming with me, and you got my baby in your stomach, then I'm about to do something way out.
Pretty much. Sounds pretty much. So
Okay, so now I understand. Now I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I
it's
got
pretty
some
much that
comments
point.
over
So I
here.
went looking.
Do you want to hear what these comments say before you continue?
Yeah, go ahead. You can take the comment.
Okay, they're all coming from Machiavelli, back to back to back to back. Yeah, oh, for real. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's go in and mute Machiavelli, back to back to back to back, and mute. Okay. It says, then Moses said to him, if your presence doesn't go with us, do not send us up from here. Exodus 33 and 15. All right, so that's the scripture that has been placed up here. And then you have, do you know people in the prison that has stories of suicide? That's one question. Would you like to go ahead and respond to that?
Yeah, I know a couple of people who had some stories of suicide in the prison. Yeah, I know some people that actually died from suicide in the prison.
Well, you know what? Telling us about that K2 drug that got that guy stomped out, put under the bed, pulled out, and stomped again sounds like, brutal murder. But at the same time, like, why would you smoke that stuff? I don't know, man, and I'm trying to learn how to have a voice now to speak to those that suffer with this situation. I don't even know if saying suffer is the right word, but are affected by suicide, so I'm learning the language because I care. And the thing is when I listened to what the lady had to say, I said, "What, you have something that I don't have. You have compassion that I don't have. And I want what you have. Can you explain to me how I can be compassionate?"
I think what's most important is to understand my mental health diagnosis that I was suffering from at the time. I think that's what caused a lot of the distortion in what I could control and what I could not control, what I was accountable for, and trying to be accountable for other people's actions.
Trying to be
being
accountable.
bipolar, having bipolar.
But I just want to point one more thing in there. Also, I see something else now, that you were trying to defend a child unborn. And we know how our family is about our children. We know how dad is about his children. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I see that now. I see that now. I see it clear as day. Something that I've never understood. I finally got my answer. Why? Now I know why. I finally get it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and having the diagnosis that I have makes us, I forget, we did a show not too long ago, or we were doing some study not too long ago, but it gives me like a 80% or 70% more chance of committing suicide in my life. So, when I suffered that loss, that bipolar kicked in, and it was just over with for me. I was already dead before that day came. It was almost destined.
But the truth of the matter is that you are not dead. You are alive.
Yeah.
You are well, and you are doing great and mighty works in the name of Jesus Christ. So I would say and agree with the Spirit that no longer does that beast live. The beast that lived in you does not live anymore. He was smoked out inside that apartment.
Oh,
he
definitely.
Was burned
I was completely
up when the
by that.
skin came off your arm like a glove. He was humbled and left.
That was rough.
and he thought that he was going to kill you. How do I know so well? Because I suffered with a demon called the bastard. And every which way little bastard went, it led to people being irritated, angry with me, and wanting to kill me. Even those that wanted to support me threatened to kill me. JJ, who's going to put all this money behind me so that I can become this great rapper that I've always dreamed to be, pulled the gun on me and told me there was no way out the company but a body bag, and if I tested him, he was going to prove his point. Every which way we were led, that demon was trying to take our life.
Yeah, I hear you.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, brother. I hear you, brother.
But God decided there's something about our love for God and our relationship with God that God prevented it, knowing that the outcome would be. It's just like Paul. Stephen was killed. Okay? Stephen was killed. Think about how much your story compares to Paul. Okay, Stephen was preaching the gospel. Everybody got mad. Paul threw down his, they said, go ahead and throw all your cloaks right here. I'll watch your coats while you go stone him because he's blaspheming, talking about Jesus is Lord. So go kill him. I'll be here waiting on you guys. And Stephen said, Lord, don't even hold this sin against him. I'm paraphrasing. And he fell down and saw the glory of the Lord as he died at the hands of those that claim Yahweh. The same ones that claim God killed the man of God while laying their robes down at Paul's feet, who could have stopped the murder, but he didn't. And he went on to ravish the church. They said he went on a mission to destroy the church of Jesus Christ until Jesus knocked him off his horse and blinded him personally, until Anton went ahead and poured the gasoline, and the Lord finally, hey, okay, so now you ready to stop at this point while everything's on fire? That demon ran up out the room. He was like, okay, I got him. There he goes. And he ran up out the room. He left you right there in the flames. And as you said, an angel put you inside the closet. Something spoke to you to get you out of the way and breathed life into you, even though someone else was sacrificed in this situation, so that you could go forth as Paul does and preach the gospel behind the walls of a prison and set many souls free. I'm amazed. It's astonishing.
Yeah, I hear you. It's a powerful thing, man, to be in the graces of the King and of the Lord, man. I'm just so sorry that, somebody had to lose their life before my life was changed and other lives were changed. People talk about accountability all the time and they talk about things, but it's like, people have lost their lives and you still have not changed, and you still have stayed the same. You're still doing the same things that cost people their lives. I've lost my freedom. Someone's lost their life. My daughter's lost her life, behind people who continue to do the same things. And you would think that my death, I would thought that my death would change people, would make people different. But to know that my life is worthless, to them, to those same people that proclaim that they love you, say that they love you, and supposed to be there for you, to those same people, my life was worthless. Because it still, after everything that happened, still didn't induce change. Still didn't make you want to do something different with your life, And I would be dead and gone, and these people would still be living their lives the way they were living them prior to me sacrificing myself or killing myself. It's really a tough pill to swallow, but I know that God is working through me to work to love other individuals, and love is what it's all about. You know, loving somebody else so that person can go love somebody else. And my life was changed. That's what's significant. I'm not going to let people pass away and let a person's life be taken, and I'm going to still live the same as I was before they lost their life. So if I can bring significance to the death of the victim in the case, then I'm going to live every day of my life, every breath that I breathe is going to bring significance to the life of that person. And
Well,
I'm
you know
not
what
going to live
I
the
would
same way
say?
I lived before.
You know what? And now this may totally be outside of the realm of suicide prevention, uh, awareness, and everything. But I would ask you, what is his name? Give honor to the man and say his name. He's not just the victim. Who is he?
Steve.
And have you apologized to Steve?
I apologize the day it happened. I apologize the day in court. I apologize every time I'm on talk about him. I apologize every day. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I apologize. And that's all at this point.
This is going to be the last question because we're already past time. But now I've seen inside of films, documentaries, things like that, where the person whose life has been lost shows up as a spirit inside of these different individuals' cells, inside their sleep, in the hole, wherever you might have found yourself. Has Steve ever shown up on you?
Yeah, a few times in my dream, Steve has come in my dream and things like that. And he used to like to drink beer, and he drank a beer with me one time and had a conversation with me. I'm not going to detail the words of the conversation that we've had, but we had a couple conversations. Yeah.
Well, you guys have been tuned in to the Hemet Beat Daily Show Incarceration Friday edition with Antone Page as the host, okay? It might seem like I'm host because I'm authoritative, but, it's really more about this young man's story, what God has done to transform his life, and the redemption and the light at the end of the tunnel. So we thank you so much. We love you so much. God bless you so much. And we're going to let the people go. Is there any final words you would like to say?
God bless.